Boop. Hello, everybody, and welcome to MangaPod. We are a weekly podcast in which we all get together after we've read all or part of a manga, and then we discuss it with friendship, love, and lots of spoilers. This week, we read Hajime no Ippo, continuing our sports March Madness manga sports month.
Manga month?
Manga month, yeah.
Quadruple M.
Yeah.
That's not catchy.
That's not catchy at all.
4M.
Oh! Some,
Failed.
like, horrible gang sign. We read chapters 25 through 63. I am your host, Erin of Happily Erin, and with me are two of my three lovely co-hosts. Lou is here. He's just, we had a lot of technical issues right before. Lots of stuff wanted to update, and then lots of stuff didn't want to work after it updated, so he's just his kawaii lolly picture. Which is it looks exactly like him, so it's nothing missing. But,
it does, it's identical anyway, but...
If you guys would like to introduce yourselves. I mean, I already introduced Lou,
but... Hi everybody, I'm Dodger. And Hajime no Ippo is best. So.
Yep.
We basically don't even need to do the show anymore, because that's all of my opinions.
Hey everybody, bye! Oh, there it goes. I wanted to make a joke of, I turned on the splash screen, but it froze. And so my joke just went like this. But
the joke just died, yeah. Nah.
Lou?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the disembodied voice of Lou. I'm a kawaii lolly girl.
I was gonna say, it looks really funny with your voice coming through the kawaii lolly girl.
Yeah, especially since she looks so dubious.
By the way, I really hate Skype.
Yeah.
Skype, you are the worst.
You're not the only.
It was so sad. Lou was just like, Lou, where'd you go? Lou, come back.
It was funny because, like, alright, at first, the camera was working, but it was the wrong camera, so I was like, alright, cool, I'll switch it. And then I switched it, and it was working. And then we had to restart the call for some reason. And then Skype decided to disconnect the call while still keeping me on the call. It was the worst thing ever, guys. Like, I think my laptop is haunted and is afraid to sleep in his room tonight.
You should put it in the closet. Just put it in the closet.
I don't have a closet. I have furniture. I will hide in my furniture.
Yes, there you go. And thank you all so much for joining us tonight. By the way, Yoku wasn't able to make it, even though Hajime no Ippo is his favorite sports manga of all time. So we miss him a lot. But he is
bullshit. He said it's not yaoi enough. There need to be more dicks.
That is true. He did say that specifically.
Yes, he did.
That's what happens when you're not here, Yoku. Everything you say is true.
He secretly writes fan fiction about Ippo and his giant wang. Mm-hmm. That's what Yoku is currry doing. He's
true. Spoiler penis, yeah. Sarah.
Spoiler
penis spoiler.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Forgot that the penis is a spoiler. I'm sorry. If you've never joined us for MangaPod before, welcome. I'm glad that's one of the first things that you get to hear. It's very par for the course here. What we like to do is give you a short spoiler-free description, aka summary of the manga that we read, and then we'll give you our spoiler-free recommendations, whether we think you should spend time going to read this manga or not. That way, if you do not want to be spoiled, you can take time to go and read the manga once we jump into spoiler section, and then you can come back and watch the VOD of this on my YouTube channel where all of the previous manga pods are hosted. It goes up right after the show, so you don't have to wait too long. So let's go ahead and do our spoiler-free description. I forgot how long this summary is.
It's dudes fisting each other for multiple panels, and it's the best thing ever.
It's a little fisher boy named Ippo who helps his mom out, and one day he finds out he's got a real strong punch, and he wants to be a boxer.
Yep, basically it.
The end.
It's a lot better than this one, so we're just gonna, skip over that. Say yes, exactly.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. All right, spoiler-free recommendations. I can go first.
Okay. No, go for it. Do it.
I love this manga so much. I think it is one of my favorite sports manga, and haven't even read. I mean, we've read 63 chapters, so I can say that's a good amount of chapters to say this is one of my favorites, even though that's a very small percentage of how many chapters are out of Hajime no Ippo.
Yeah, that's the thing, is because there's like 1,800 chapters, you're like, I mean, 63 is basically no chapters.
But I'm still going to be one of those people and be like, it's still one of my favorites that at least for this chunk, like, it's just so good. It's, it's everything you want in a sports manga, and it gets your blood going, and that's like my favorite part about sports manga, and it makes you care about the characters, which is also something that's really important. And so this has both of those things and more, and I just love it.
Yeah. I absolutely love the characters, and it really does, like, the way that the characters are developed makes you care so much about every fight that happens. And sometimes you're of two minds about what you want to have happen, which is hard to do in a sports manga, because typically you're like, no, this is the main character and I'm rooting for them, but sometimes you're like, oh, but the other guy too, like there's a lot of development that happens. The characters are awesome. I think I said this last time we did Hajime no Ippo, but again, as a reminder, when reading this, you might be like, wow, that's a weird off-color joke. This is like, I think.
Oh yeah, that is a warning to give.
It's written. It started in the late '80s, and you can tell, like you can kind of tell the late '80s in Japan. Some of the jokes that are made, you're like, oh, okay, that's a weird thing to say, but sure, I guess. So it is definitely a product of the time. But even so, even then, the characters are great, the story is great, and I'm excited to see how it develops because it is so long. So yeah, I would definitely recommend it.
All right, guys. It is real good. I recommend it. If you are easily offended by some race stuff, some homophobic stuff, it's there. Just in very, very small quantities, but it's there. So just be aware of it. I think it does a lot of interest. The manga does a lot of interesting things without spoiling it. Even though, again, we've only read a small portion of it, it constantly felt fresh. And I started to I read all 63 chapters that we read basically in one sitting almost. And it flew by for me because it was just such an enjoyable read. Again, I was stumbling over those very non-PC moments. Kind of caught me off guard.
Yeah, it's the same for me. And I remember feeling that way the first time we read it too. Being like, oh, that's a joke about a thing. Okay.
I had completely forgotten about that part of Hajime no Ippo, so when I was reading this section, I was like, oh my.
Now, I'm not going to lie, I still laughed because I'm a terrible but it just caught me off guard. But it's really good. I highly recommend it. Everybody should go read it. It's just dudes fisting each other and just blood everywhere. And it's a good time.
Oh my god, the blood. Oh, that's right. That's something about sports manga you don't get to see a lot, because a lot of times the sport isn't, blood is bad, but blood here is gold. It's so good. I'm trying to see. Let's see. Yoku's recommendation is Ippo is best sports anime / manga / ever, and one of my favorite anime / manga of all time. 10 out of 10 for sure, without a single tiny doubt. That's Yoku's. So I say he recommends
my animator Danny, every week, if we wind up talking about MangaPod, he's like, oh, you're reading Hajime no Ippo, right? Like, obviously, because like, what other manga would you read? It's like the best manga ever. I'm like, And this week I got to message him and be like, guess what? We're actually reading Hajime no Ippo. And he was like, so excited.
Aww, I love it. Oh, it's so good. All right, let's go ahead and jump into spoilers section. What this means, if you do not want to be spoiled for what we are going to be discussing in chapters, I don't know why I'm doing this, chapters 25 through 63, then now is the time for you to take your leave. If you do not care about spoilers, feel free to hang out with us. Please do not spoil anything past chapter 63, and don't spoil anything about the anime either. We are only discussing up to chapter 63. If you put a spoiler in the chat, even if it's a fake spoiler, On Twitch, you'll get a warning, and then you'll get timed out, and then you'll get banned. On YouTube, you will get a warning, and then you'll just get straight up banned. So please do not do it. We call people who do that rotten bacon butts because it's the most horrible term you could possibly be called.
Yeah,
so you don't want be it.
You could be in the whole
You
universe
don't want be it. So don't do it. Okay. All right. Countdown, please.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ippo Wang is
Ippo's
God.
Yeah,
Ippo Wang
that's
is
it.
God. Yes.
They're two separate people. I mean, there's enough body mass for there to be two people, so there are two people.
That's what I took away from those jokes.
What the funniest thing for me, the entire 63 chapters, was Takamura's obsession with Ippo's Wang.
Yeah.
I know.
He's just like no, like at any opportunity, he's just like, oh, he's got a giant Johnson.
Maybe I just don't understand men, but for as like homophobic as he came off in that one chapter, he does talk about Ippo's Wang quite a bit.
Like all the time.
Maybe I just don't understand that, but I was like, Takamura, But, alright guys, what were your, Lou, I want to hear this from you. And then Dodger, you and I can talk about, because we had read it before, so what we felt coming back to it. But Lou, what were your expectations going into this manga?
Okay, this wasn't my first incursion into Ippo. I'd seen the anime maybe 10 years ago.
Oh wow.
And I forgot everything that was in the beginning. Because like I was of the mindset of like, all right, either I'm going to read the manga or I'm going to wait for it to be relicensed so I can watch it legally. So that's something that I wanted to do. And well, we decided to read it. So I guess it felt familiar, but again, like I said, it was refreshing at the same time. So that was just my experience with it. It's just really hard to vocalize just the experience that is Hajime no Ippo.
Yeah. Yeah, I was super jazzed to read it again because I remembered really liking it. I couldn't remember what had just happened, but I got back into the swing of it really fast. And yeah, there's just something so endearing about Ippo. There's just like something about him where you're just like, oh, I just want you to win. And like coming back into it too, his very first opponent after our hiatus from Ippo, his very first opponent was like an awesome dude, right? Like a guy who's Asuma, yeah, like a dude who's just like, I was homeless and then they took me in and like I was a foreigner too, but like they were so nice to me and they're my family now and I'm gonna win this for my family. And like having that be the first fight in what we read, I was like, I don't know who I think should win.
Oh my god. I was so torn. I was like, maybe if I stop reading, they both win. It's like, I want them both.
Maybe they could get a draw.
Yeah,
and then
a tie and they both advance.
Yeah.
It didn't happen.
Yeah,
But I felt that way too.
That was not a thing that happened. But I hope that that's not the last we see of Asuma, because I think he was awesome.
Smooth.
Thank you.
That was a good one. 10 out of 10.
You stuck to that. Dude, you committed.
I did.
You were like,
All
I'm
right. So I know that we all like Asuma. What did you guys think of Ippo's other opponents?
Okay, Precious Anxiety dude.
Precious emo boy.
Precious emo boy. I loved him so much. I was like, the first encounter we have with him is when he's on the videotape and he's just kind of like
doing clinches over and
over. It's like, okay, whatever, and they completely dismiss him. So I love the fact that he got so much more character later on and that he wasn't just dismissed and that he was such an awesome character and his fighting style was good. Yeah. I love that he like appeared all like outside just taking notes and stuff. He's just, I don't know. I fell in love with him. Like, he's so endearing.
I liked that like no matter how much they watched the tape, they were like, I don't know like what his special ability is. And it was because his special ability is that he's smart.
Yes.
It's like he like reads his opponents really well. Like that's his ability. It's not like he has a move that's amazing or anything. Yeah. He's just like he understands boxing really well, right? Which I thought was cool.
I like that he showed up later after Ippo had that meeting with his teacher. And it's kind of like reinforcing of like, all right, this isn't the end of his story. He's going to continue growing, and I'm curious to see if he shows up again later.
I hope he does. I feel like he needs to. I don't know. I feel like this is I hope with how long this manga is, some of these characters that we are getting investment in at the beginning, like, come up sometime later. Yeah, they come up sometime later. Otherwise, it's just 1,800 chapters of introducing people and then just getting rid of them.
Yeah, because like with Emo Boy, he was like, I have a dream now. I want to KO a guy. And they were like, all right, let's make your dream happen. And I'm like, are we going to get to see the dream happen? Like, do we get to be part of it?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. During their fight, when, I think, yeah, it was there, where his teacher was like, get up, you want this so bad. Like, that part at the end, I was tearing up. It was hitting my heart. My heart feels.
It hurt
it did my kokoro. Just because it does, like, I don't know, because of how the writing is for the characters and the build up to that fight, you get so invested into these side characters, like what you were saying earlier, Dodger, that you find yourself rooting for both sides. And even if you're like wanting one person to win over the other, except if it's like that last dude in that match, the last match dude,
oh my god, fuck
you
that
still
guy.
you still really like feel for him what happens to him. And so just seeing the emotion on the coach's face, and that gets me too in sports anime, when like people who are invested in one of the players and like have really believe in them just shouts and believes in them even harder, that always makes me cry because I'm a loser.
I know.
But yeah, so like that part I just loved. I loved their fight.
I loved that we had two fights where his opponents were like honorable dudes, where you were just like, oh man, like I really like these guys. And then the last one was such a fuck. It was just like, this guy needs to be knocked down a peg.
See, the thing is, all right, he was an arrogant prick, but I get where he was coming from. Like, he was doing it for the good of the sport. Like,
totally.
which, if you watch, like, if you follow any fighting, a big part of what makes people famous in fighting is how well they can shit talk. Like, if you look at
themselves, right?
Exactly, because it just adds interest to the fight. If you are, people like seeing. The idea is to see people beat the crap out of each other that don't like each other. That there's a story to it. It's not just a fight, and that's what he was trying to do. He was trying to make it interesting by being that I guess that special attraction, that personality.
Yeah.
That could reignite the sport.
Right.
And I really liked that they touched on how, since he is a champion, he has the pressure to continue doing that. And so that's a different side of it too. Yeah, so that's a different side. The weight of that is something that's very real in all sports, across all sports. It's like, oh, you've been winning for so long, and if you lose, like, you have so much more to lose. Like, you have way more to hold up and like prove than these other people who are coming up from the bottom. And so that's something you see in real life as well. It's like if somebody is like a baseball player and they're constantly getting home runs, and then all of a sudden they're just keep missing, people like get really pissed off at that player. It's like they have lost their skill or whatever. So it's just all this pressure that gets put on champions. And so I like that they touched on that in contrast with Ippo's story and where Ippo's starting from. But yeah, that last fight though.
Oh, it was so good.
I think we got a total of 4 fights this
we got
4,
Takamura,
including
Takamura, yeah. And so we got Asuma, Emo Boy, Takamura, and then the final fight.
we also got the Aoki's fight that everybody loves.
Oh yeah. Clown, Mr. Clown.
2 panels.
Oh my
I felt
God.
so bad.
Oh my god, I love the message after the end note. It's like, I hope you enjoyed Aoki's fight, all 2 panels of it.
Yeah, I thought that was really funny too.
But I like really adored that, because in a lot of sports, it's like, especially sports manga, the little guy kind of gets tossed to the sides. But so I love seeing the little dude come in and just be like, yeah, I won and I get to be proud even though there's nobody here. I still won. And so just like taking pride in the fact that they still won. I love that. Because, like, not everyone can be a prodigy and win all the time, so, or, like, destroy the super tough guys. So it's like, you take the wins that you can be proud of and stuff. So I like that. I liked him.
The only thing about it that frustrated me was that, like, none of them wanted to cheer for him.
Yeah!
I was like, why are you guys cheering for him? He's your bro.
I was like, you're not being good
We're
friends.
like embarrassed of him, and I was like, boo, you guys are the worst friends.
Yeah, I like that they showed the audience. It's like some dude just drinking sake. Like getting crunk, some businessman just there to get crunk.
Yeah.
But yeah, it made me sad. I was like, guys, be a friend. Be a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Bull.
Especially when your friend won.
Yeah.
Cheer. Come on.
Just be like, don't just go, oh, he's a clown, let's not cheer for him. We can't show that we know him. It's like, he won. He got all beat up. He won. Yeah. Something that surprised me, let's talk about Takamura's match against the Japanese champion.
That match was so short.
Yes.
Yep.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. It was.
That's all of Takamura's fights, though. That's consistent with who he is as a character. Mm-hmm. That he won 8 straight fights all in the first round.
But this was like the match to decide the best in Japan. I was like, this is gonna be a cool match because Takamura is like such a seasoned boxer. Like he's probably gonna run into, you know, like somebody who's really tough, and we're gonna get to see him get serious, right? And we did not. He was just like, nah. He just KO'd in the first round again and was like, yeah.
I mean, he got a little serious. He got a little serious when he was all like moping at the start, and then he got up and just like, because he was mad that Ippo cheered. I don't understand his motivation. I'm not talking.
The thing is, with his goals being so much higher than just Japan, I think he'll hit his obstacles once he debuts on a world stage. Like, I think that's when we'll see his story take off.
What? Just made me think of all the racism. The world stage. But I do agree with that.
Oh my god. Yeah,
what is your favorite offensive part of Evo?
The blackface. Like, not my favorite, but the part that caught me off guard.
Like, oh god.
That made me think, oh, okay, was like the blackface.
Yeah, because they had spent so long being like, well, you know, black muscles are different from ours. And like, I realized that you're probably going to be very scared with like a black man around. And I was like, what is happening?
I was like,
and then like, it got worse. Like, Aoki showed up and I was like, who's this guy? And then they were like, oh, he like did the thing. And I was like, he did the thing. No.
Never in my mind could I have possibly thought it would go there, and then it went there, and I was like, okay.
That was fun. Yeah. Y'all are shaking your heads, but that shit had me laughing because I looked so stupid.
Just thinking, it was just like, oh wow, this is just product of the time, though, jokes.
Yeah, for real. I think for us it feels so outlandish, right? Like, not something that would ever be done in something now. So, like, to read it and know that at the time it, like, wasn't that bad is like, oh my god.
That's what makes it funny. It's like, okay. That part, and then, what was another, just talking all the, like, muscles, like, blacks are made to be fast. Like, they're fast from infancy.
Black muscles are different from muscles.
I was like, okay. And then the other was the homophobic comment when he like pays the compliment to Miyu or whatever. What's his face? Pretty boy boxer.
Is that his name?
Mia something.
Yeah.
We're really.
Yeah, and they all start running away from him. And Takamura's like, cover your assholes, he's got a big dick.
Yes.
And I was like, what? You can't say that. You can't say that.
It's like, no. Yeah. Kimura, that's his name.
Kimura? That's his name? Really? I thought that his name started with an M.
Oh wait, no, JK, he's
Miyata.
Not. That's a different guy. They all look the same. The stupid character designs, we'll talk about that when we get to art. But, Yeah, that joke, I just went, oh dear.
Oh goodness.
Oh goodness, Ippo. I'm really interested.
Sorry. I was gonna say, even that part, like him saying that, I didn't think maybe as like, oh, come on, guys, as when he was like, yeah, even though he's like super gross, blah blah blah, and I was like, oh, come on.
When he said, oh, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's not.
Oh, I'm really interested to see if, like, since it started in 89, so
89 was when
89.
the manga started, yeah.
Published September 27th, 1989. It was a week after I was born. Was when the first chapter of Ippo came out. This manga's as old as I am.
Aw. I think it won its first award in 91.
Yeah.
So, like, it had been around for a bit before, like, it really hit its stride, I guess, in terms of, like, being serialized.
Yeah, and it won the Kodansha manga, which is, like, the highest manga award, I think, that you can get. And so I'd be interested to see if the humor has changed. If, like, those kind of jokes, like,
that's what I want to know, too.
Patterning out, or if they're still, he's like, I started with them, I'm not changing now. 1,800 chapters now.
See, I don't know about that. I honestly don't. It's probably toned down, but I mean, culture in Japan isn't exactly very open to. It hasn't changed
as fast. Yeah, it hasn't changed as quickly as other places in the world. Yeah, and so I have no idea if it would actually. Everybody's in blackface. Don't want it to happen. Yeah, that very Hajime no Ippo. But yeah, like Lou, you said earlier, that was very far, like, it was not every single chapter at all.
Oh, yeah.
So it was very, like, sprinkling in there. Like, they were definitely consistent, but it wasn't the entire thing. And so, can we talk about Ippo? I want to talk about Ippo. I love that he is so unsure, and then he builds his confidence through working hard and through training. Like, I love the fact that, and then even when he is really, like, even after he has trained a lot, he still has that edge of unconfidence. Like, just because of who he started as at the beginning of the story, it's nice to see a protagonist that's not all airheaded and cocky and, like, I can do anything and stuff. Yeah. It's nice to see a different version of that.
I totally agree. And I think we talked about this last time too, but, like, Ippo is so great because he doesn't have that element that a lot of protagonists have, where either they're just, like, instantly amazing at everything, or they're, like, really overconfident for no reason. Like, he gains confidence when he's worked really hard at something. Yeah. And I love how often we see him trying to logic through a problem, right? Like, we get to watch him work hard in a way that's really believable. And sometimes his hard work doesn't pay off the way that he wants it to. And I love that too. Like every fight was really interesting to watch because we got to see it in, like, a sequence of, okay, we've watched the tape. We know, like, what kind of a fighter they are. We'll come up with a strategy on how to beat them. And then in the moment of, like, being in the ring, there's always, like, even the other character has this moment about Ippo too, but Ippo always has this moment where he's like, it's different from seeing you on tape, right? Like, there's that moment where it's like, oh, we're fighting for real now. So I'm trying to, like, put all of this shadow boxing into actual practice. And that's, you know, there's, like, a learning that happens while they're in the ring that's really interesting to watch, I think.
Yeah, because
it reminds me a lot.
Oh, go ahead, Lou.
Oh, I was gonna say he just reminds me a lot of Maruo from Baby Steps.
I haven't seen Baby Steps.
Haven't seen it.
It's really good.
I know. I've heard it's
the
super
same
good.
the same type of it's the same type of protagonist, someone who has some degree of natural talent, but the vast majority of it comes from hard work. And that's the type of protagonist that I like to see. Someone who's positive and upbeat, but not necessarily the airheaded standard shonen protagonist. Someone who is willing to work hard in a way that I guess seems mature.
Yeah. And not like, and also not like a Prince of Tennis protagonist either, where it's just like, I've been doing this since birth. I'm the best there is. Like
Mata Mata Dane.
Mata Mata Dane.
Mata Mata Dane.
Yeah. He feels really, really fresh and earnest in a way that's endearing for sure.
Yeah, and he's not annoying at all either. He's just so genuine in everything he does, and I love how he does have a lot of respect for the sport and a lot of respect for other fighters. Like, he doesn't go in and just like, he won one match against this super good dude, and so now he's cocky and bullheaded and thinks everyone's below him. That's not how it is at all. He sees other fighters and respects them and their ways of fighting, and and that makes him very, like you said,
their
endearing.
Way of the ninja.
Yeah, their way of the ninja. And so that makes him really endearing because it makes him likable, and so then he also becomes somebody that connects with other characters, and so he's not just like, I don't know, I lost the train of thought. He's great. That's all.
He's dope.
I think an interesting side to his personality is that even though he's been at the gym for a year, he's still very insecure about how he is in social settings. Yeah, like, he still has that anxiety of like, all right, you know, what am I going to do in this group of people? Like, when he first showed up at school with all the bruises on his face, he just felt really uncomfortable. Or just dealing with the bullies, he was still uncomfortable, even though he was a trained fighter at that point.
Yeah, he hasn't just had like a really drastic change of confidence in any sense.
Yeah.
He hasn't had a major personality shift. Like, it's definitely like improving his confidence slowly, but he's still the same Ippo that we saw at the beginning. Just has like something that he cares about and is passionate about now. And his mom.
His mom is slowly like accepting it, and I'm like, oh.
Love that she's like, I'll go when you don't get hurt. And he's just it's never gonna happen.
I know, and every time he leaves for a match, she's like, don't get hurt, come home safe, and he's like, I'm gonna get hurt, Mom, I love you though.
I
Bye, Mom.
really liked the teacher. Like, I was expecting the teacher to do something sinister and evil after Ippo left the room, but he was just practicing boxing.
I know.
Instead, and I love that, because usually you always get in like sports anime, just anime in general that take place in a high school, you get this teacher who's super sinister and gonna try and ruin it for the protagonist, but that wasn't the case at all. It was just that scene was there to set up that Ippo really wants to do boxing and is taking it seriously.
Yeah, I thought one of two things was going to come out of that scene. I thought one was that that maybe he wasn't supposed to be doing an extracurricular like boxing, and so the teacher was going to like be like, oh, I need to do something about this because that's not safe for a student. Or I thought that Ippo was going to wind up like after that meeting being like, oh man, well maybe I really should go to college because like my mom does need my help, and maybe this is like really selfish of me to focus on boxing so much. And I was like, no, don't do it. And he didn't. He was like, nah, I'm doing boxing. I don't know. I was like, yay!
He's like,
I was really happy that it didn't cause any unnecessary drama.
Yeah. That's something that is very like lacking, gratefully, is that there's no unnecessary drama on the outskirts, at least right now. Like, I don't know if the girl that he met is gonna come back. She was there. We got lots of chapters for her to come back, but I don't know if there's gonna end up being drama
probably
with
like
that.
Miata's sister thing.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I thought. That's what I think. They look very similar, and so but yeah, like all of the drama is contained to the matches and between that, and so I like that fact.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's right. He ran into her again. I forgot that he ran into her twice. Yeah, he ran into her at the bakery too, and she didn't recognize him.
Him. I was like, oh, is this gonna be a meet cute? And it was not. It was not a meet cute at all.
It was not a meet cute at
all. Speaking of the girls, how do you think about how the guys, again, non-PC content, how they were treating and reacting to women?
Like on the beach and stuff?
Yeah, like chasing them.
I was
or
like, oh,
specifically
gosh, oh my
just
God.
like yelling at like how they were like, oh, you can't yell at a girl, like when it was a pretty girl, but when it was
An ugly girl,
a
it
chubby
was like,
girl,
sit down,
ugly
you
girl.
hag.
Yeah.
You know, I can't say that I approve of
Obviously.
that kind of behavior. I'm such a mom. I don't approve of this behavior that you young boys are doing. Yeah, I was like, okay, guys, let's.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the part where they just kept being like, he only dates ugly girls. I was like,
Yeah. I was
these
like,
are
come on,
mean.
guys.
This is mean.
Yeah, and then they were like, and the worst tragedy of all, she broke up with him. And they were like, oh.
And he
I
was
like,
by the window just being like, ugh.
yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that was, I mean, it's a manga aimed at young men, but I don't know. It's not really behavior I would want my son to take away from a fourth manga, I guess.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, look, it
But whatever.
goes on for a very long time.
Yeah.
So all we can hope is that these boys grow up a little bit, get a little more mature, and start, like, respecting women a bit better. And not
That's
doing
all.
blackface.
Yeah. It's like, if we could have
Like,
no
oh,
blackface
really?
and respect for women, that'd be so good.
Come on, just a little smidge.
But yeah, it's the same about the rest of the political PC stuff, where it's like, that's definitely happens a lot more often, but it's not enough, like, it's not the entire focus, I guess. It is one of my negatives for it, but, yeah. The part where they were running on the beach and, like, speeding up just so that they could look at the girls' asses,
Yeah.
I did laugh at that part.
Yep.
Me too.
That was really funny. What about the beach episode? How do you guys feel about his training?
At first, okay, that was another point that I thought was going to turn into like something a little bit dramatic, because the whole beginning of that was them just like chilling on the beach, like hanging out.
Yeah.
And when he had answered the call about the beach trip, he had been like, oh, but I really need to help out my mom. And his mom was like, oh, don't worry, I got this. You go, you go train. It's fine. And when he showed up and they weren't training, I was like, oh, God, he's going to have so much guilt. Like, if they don't wind up training very much, he's going to be like, oh, I should have been home helping my mom. But then the second that everybody had left the beach, they were like, all right, time to get real. I was like, oh, dang. And they got real.
So real.
Mm.
Yeah, and I
love that entire training sequence. Like,
Yeah, me too. And the whole toe thing,
Like,
I thought that was
the
super
toe.
interesting.
Yeah.
like up until before that, everyone except for Takamura was painted as being very weak because Ippo was kicking their asses in the spars.
Yeah.
But once, they started exploiting that weakness of his, I guess it added a lot to their characters, because they went from being like Aoki and I forget the other guy. I always forget his
Yeah.
name.
Hang on, I accidentally said his name earlier, remember?
Oh,
Oh god, I don't remember. Kimura.
Kimura.
Yeah.
Kimura.
That guy.
Yeah, both of them, they feel, I guess, more credible as fighters,
Yeah.
since they were able to just like hold their own against Ippo.
I feel like that was as much about building them as characters as it was about giving Ippo that turning point, too. With the whole foot stuff.
Yeah.
I love that in sports anime and manga there's always a beach scene, and it is never like a beach scene that you expect. It's always them running on the sand.
Yep.
Yeah, I like seeing the different kinds of training that Ippo is doing, and how it doesn't, like with the counter stuff that we saw for the final match, where he was learning how to counter.
Yeah.
And they were like, you can't learn how to do this overnight. Like, you're not going to be able to do it. And I love that he wasn't magically able to do it, because that happens such a trope where they find out about this ability that they might be able to do to take down the next opponent, and then all of a sudden they train for 2 days and they're able to do it perfectly. Like, that's not the case.
That
Or, like,
happened last week in the thing that we read last week. I don't want to spoil something.
Oh, in real?
Yeah, in real.
It happened in
Yes,
chapter
you're
two.
right. Yes, it did. It happened in real. Yes, it did. Sorry, I was
And-
trying to remember what part. Yeah,
It was
happened in
such an
Tepu.
ass pull in those two, and it still felt like an ass pull here.
Yeah.
I was really hoping he missed the counter, but he didn't.
the main girl in Teppu is totally that character too, where they were like, how did she learn how to do that? She saw her opponent do it once. And I was like, God damn it.
Get out!
But I was, look, for the hype, for the purpose of the hype, Lou, I was willing to let it fly for this one because it was so hype when he got that counter. I was like, yes!
That's how I felt too. I was so into it. There was a moment where I was like, I don't even care if he gets the counter. This is just so intense. That last match, I am so grateful that we decided to read Lou, that you were like, read 3 more chapters. I'm so grateful to you forever, sir.
Yeah.
Mwah, mwah.
Yeah, because I finished it this morning and I was like, no, not like this. Not like this.
But that match was such a fast read because a ton of the panels were just sound effects. It was no dialogue going on because it was literally just the fight. And my heart was pounding so hard during it because I was like, I know who's gonna win, but I can't even stop to think about who's going to win because it's that you're that engulfed in it. You're just drawn in and can't stop clicking through the pages. You're like, I don't care. This is so intense. Like you're actually watching the match. And when sports mangaka are able to do that, it's just a win constantly. Like
especially since, and I know, well, maybe we can hop into art.
Yeah.
But like especially because of the art style, like the art style is, it's not realistic. It's not like a super realistic art style. The characters are obviously seem like they're in proportion, like they feel right and they look right, but just the style in general is very cartoonish. And the fact that even though that's the case, you still feel like there's a lot of like movement and force to a lot of the fights is really impressive, I think. Like when I'm reading it, I take it really seriously, even though it's all very like cartoony,
Yeah.
I concur.
Out of the lolly nether. I concur. The art style makes, like, having it be so cartoony for, like, the characters and everything later on, or, like, during the normal parts, for the fights when it's the full panel, like, punches and contact, it makes it that much more epic when it does it, because all of the like intensity and realism gets put into that, and I stared at those pages for a really long time whenever like they had the full panel, them punching each other. It was just I couldn't stop looking at it. That's when the art was my favorite. Like the art during them, it's not, I don't know, we can just talk about art, but in my opinion, like the art isn't like outstanding by any means, but during the fights when it needs to be outstanding, that's when it is, and I think that's really important.
All right, for me, I would say that the style is ugly, but it's really well executed.
I would agree with that.
On a technical level, I would say it's very well executed. But I mean, if just looking at the character designs, I mean, they look like, granted, they do look like people that get punched in the face daily. Yeah. But
I find them endearing at this point, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, I find their character designs to be really endearing. And I also, like, there's the occasional character that looks really similar. But for the most part, I can tell the difference between all of the characters. Like, all of the important characters, I guess.
Yeah. There's just a few times where I get Pretty Boy and, Aoki's friend mixed up. I was like, what are you doing here, Pretty Boy? Didn't you fight? Aren't you, like, fighting somewhere else? And then I'm like, wait,
didn't
no.
you leave the gym?
It's not as bad as Teppu's was. Like, Teppu's was pretty bad.
Teppu's was so bad.
There were a few moments where I noticed that the character designs were, where I thought they were similar, was whenever they did a scene that had a lot of, profile shots. When it had a lot of profile shots, the like curve of the nose and the mouth and forehead were all basically carbon, like copy pasted is what it looked like. And so that's where the character designs, I was like, sometimes, they look exactly the same. But when you had when the characters had more detail on them, when it wasn't just profile, they were definitely a lot more varied. For sure. And like I
was gonna say all the pretty background girls all looked exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like
every
some
girl
Stepford
in
Wide
this
shit
manga
going on
was,
here.
like an identical girl. I was like, huh?
Yeah. It's like, look how pretty this one is compared to this one. I
All
was like,
these
they
throwaway
look.
ladies.
They
I was
all
like,
look. And talking about like you guys are saying how the art is ugly and that it works well. I can't imagine this manga being as well like executed like you said, Lou, with prettier art. It would not work. It would not.
I agree.
If all of the characters were super Kuroko no Basuke free pretty, it'd be too jarring. It would not work at all.
I agree. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but like this style works for this manga. Like they suit each other perfectly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think so. Did this mangaka do any other manga?
I don't know. I actually have no idea.
Let me
I
look.
mean, he's been working on this for like
George
27
Morikawa.
years.
Story and art. Nope, he's only done... Oh, wait, no, JK, that's... I was like, staff positions, Hajime no Ippo. Oh, that's all he's done. No, that's not right. He did one, let me see, called I Ni Iku Yo, which is based on the earthquakes in Japan in 2011.
It's one volume, 5 chapters long.
Yeah, I'm interested to read that now since it's so short. Somebody on the YouTube chat, Ergo Vita Oasis said, one of my friends says Ippo looks like Yusuke. He does, kind of.
He looks like a tiny squat Yusuke.
Yeah. That's something else that always catches me off guard is when they do their weigh-ins, and they're like, weighing in at 124 pounds, and I just go,
yeah. I'm like, that's close to how much I weigh.
I know. Oh. I could be a boxer. We should go boxing together.
I know, right?
Should box. Alright, does anybody else have anything they would like to touch on? Otherwise, we can wrap up and give our final thoughts and ratings. I'm trying to think.
I don't think so. I'm very excited to read more.
I
though.
know.
And I realize that we will never like, even if MangaPod goes until the day we die, we'll probably never finish Ippo.
I don't think so either.
Still wonderful. Still jazzed about it.
Still. Yeah, people were like, I want to know what your thoughts are on the finale, MangaPod. We're like, never. I'm trying to see. I want to see what I rated it last week because it was just you and me, Dodger, who were here last time. And so that was
Still
so funny.
True.
People were, no, Lou, you're here.
What do you mean?
Disembodied voice.
Disembodied voice, Lou.
You're very much part of this.
Let's see. It was episode 62. If anybody would like to go back and watch the first part of our discussion on this. And I gave it, I want to make sure. I gave it a 7.5. And Dodger, you gave it I lost it, an 8.
I feel like
and Yoku said best sports manga. At least he's consistent.
Yeah. I feel like I would probably keep it at maybe an 8.5. I don't know. I really like Hajime no Ippo. I just think it's so endearing and earnest, and I don't know. I'm invested. Mm-hmm. So
I'm hooked.
Yeah, I feel like I'd give it an 8.5. And yeah, I hope that we read more soon.
See, I would have agreed with you on the 8.5 up until those last 5 chapters. Those last 5 chapters.
And then it bumped it up?
Hell yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it bumped it down. That's why my gasp was so dramatic.
No.
How could
you
exactly?
not see my text
I was
messages?
really concerned. I was like, how could you possibly? But go on.
I was very, very enthused. Like, all capsing and things.
Yeah.
After I read the last 3 chapters. It was so good. But yeah, that last fight was just phenomenal. So it bumps it up from an 8.5 to a 9.2.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm gonna. Oh gosh, I agree with Lou. Those last fights were so. It was so good. Those last few chapters were so good and so well executed. The entire thing. I'm super into it. I love the characters. I just want to keep seeing what happens and where these characters go and what their journey is. And based off 63 chapters, I'm going to give it an 8.89 because that's the year we were born. Plus a 1,000.
An 8.1989.
8.1989. Alright, yes, and Yoku gives it a 10 out of 10. Best sports anime ever.
Best sports anime ever, yeah. Absolutely.
So there you go. That is our discussion on Hajime no Ippo. We highly suggest you check it out. You know, I say this every time we read sports manga. So many people say that they're not into sports manga. Just go and read the sports. Just go and read the sports manga.
Man. Just try it out. You should totally read Real. God, Real is so good. You should totally try out Hajime no Ippo. It's like so fun, and the characters are great. Kuroko no Basuke is
Cross Game is phenomenal.
Best girl. Cross Game is amazing. Teppu, you know, good points,
is all right,
but not starter. I don't know why I even brought it up. What other sports manga have we read? We read a lot. We read so many. They're all so good. There's a reason that we read so many. It's because they're all amazing.
There's a reason that
even if you
March Madness Manga Month happens.
Yeah, even if you don't like sports IRL, you'll love sports M&A. Manga and anime.
Oh, I don't know what I thought you said. Like, especially since you gave the side eye, like you had made up a word, and I was like, "That's what?"
I'm going to go ahead and read the description for the manga that we're reading next week, talking about hype.
Do it.
Okay. Hype. Oh God, hang on.
You guys have to guess with the anime, with the manga, with the manga.
The M&A. The M&A.
What the animanga is.
What's the animanga? Wimpy Sena Kobayakawa has been running from. Hang on. Reset. I was like, do I need to bleep this word? But I don't. I bleeped too early. Okay. Wimpy Sena Kobayakawa has been running away from bullies all his life, but when the blank gear comes on, things change. Sena's speed and uncanny ability to elude big bullies just might give him what it takes to become a great high school blank. Enjoy all the bone-crushing action and slapstick comedy that this heartwarming coming-of-age story has to offer.
Crimson Dove got it.
Yeah! Holla! Yep,
Holla.
I Show 21! More sports. I've heard this is super hype. I've only watched the first episode of the anime. I haven't seen anything more than that. But
yeah, you've seen more than I have, Aaron, so don't feel too bad.
Good.
I've seen none of it.
So we're all close to the same. A wink. Oh, we also read Night in the Area.
Yeah, it wasn't very good.
But that one's on.
The anime was great. Go watch the anime. Fuck the manga.
Anime made me cry. We are reading volumes 1 through 4, chapters 1 through 34 with special guest Alan, aka Baka Shift. So that'll be super fun. We are doing that next week. If you guys would like to have any more MangaPod in your life, then you can go ahead and visit our subreddit, reddit.com/r/MangaPod. The schedule for all the upcoming manga that we are reading is there, as well as a recommendation thread in case you want to recommend manga for us to read that we can hopefully someday be able to get to. So yeah, let's go ahead and shout out our stuff super fast. Did I forget anything?
I don't think so.
I feel like I forgot something, but YOLO. I'm Aaron of Happily Aaron. You might be watching this on my YouTube channel. I do weeb shit. Haven't posted anything besides MangaPod in a while. Hoping to change that. If you would like to find me on any other social media, Happily Aaron all across the everything, come and chat with me. I post really random stuff about things, so you should come and post and talk about random stuff and things with me, okay?
I'm Dodger. You might be watching this on my Twitch, twitch.tv/dexteritybonus. You can also find me on YouTube at Press Heart to Continue. I play all kinds of dumb stuff, and I do a news show, and it's fun. You should come hang out. And on all the social medias, I'm at DexBonus, DEXBONUS.
You were like so threatening. It's fun!
Go up. I just played a game where you romance tank girls. Why aren't you at
Dude.
my channel right now?
It was fun. It was fun. I got into it. I have a new fetish.
Yeah, tank girls.
Neon Pasu, everybody. My name's Lou, and I'm from Lou Talks Anime. You can find me at youtube.com/Lou Talks Anime now, where I'm working on stuff. It's been a while since I've posted anything like that's actual content. There's been a lot of non-content, so you can go there for that type of stuff. There's also another podcast that I do called Anime Association, youtube.com/Anime Association. And yeah, that's basically all my stuff. Twitter, AskFM, Instagram is Lou Talks Anime. So yeah, go check out my stuff and let's talk about weeb shit.
Weeb shit.
Shit.
Wait. Oh, it's gonna probably be backwards. Shoot, but here we go.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Kawaii desu ne.
Sorry to everybody who just came in and got to hear that. Thank you all so much for joining us for our discussion of Hajime no Ippo. We will be here same time, same place next week, 7:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here on twitch.tv/dexterity_bonus, as well as youtube.com/happily-earn. We're going to be discussing Ice Shield 21, volumes 1 through 4, chapters 1 through 34 with special guest Baka Ship. We hope... Baka Ship? That's his name now. He refused ships. What kind of ships? Water ships?
Find out next week.
Or friendships? Or OTP ships?
Relationships?
Who knows? See you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh no, it keeps freezing. Okay.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Oh
What?
no. Oh yeah.